In our world of self-help, self-improvement, finding ourselves, this message is not popular. I've got to deny me. I've got to forget about me. I've got to not know who I am. I mean, our entire society focuses on how in the world do we discover exactly who we are and operate as we are. And I've talked about this before that I believe in my, or at least my setup, let me put it that way, is self, soul, spirit, source. And so ourselves, and this is the part that we're trying to deny, the part that we're trying to make sure is not getting in the way of soul and spirit and source. So deny yourself. What did Jesus actually mean? Was he teaching self-hatred, suppression, loss of identity, or was he really looking at something deeper than that? Because when he definitely says to deny yourself, Matthew 16:24, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. It's also found in Mark 8:34, Luke 9:23. Related teachings to this, Luke 14:26 and John 12:25. And so there's no doubt that it is about self-denial, taking up the cross, following him. So that my identity, my personal identity, is going away. And what is the new identity? The new identity is Christ. And what am I doing? I'm taking up this cross. In other words, I'm executing this self that is blocking soul and spirit, source. And then I'm also following after him. And we're going to do a video on this pretty soon about what did Jesus really mean by follow me. He meant, I believe that you can become, and I'm inviting you to become just like me. So when I think about my spiritual friends that are not Christians, and they go, you know what, I hate organized religion, but I really love Jesus. Right, because I don't know anybody who doesn't like Jesus. I don't know anybody who goes, Jesus, no way. I don't want to be like that. He says, follow me, become this way. It's exactly where self-denial leads. So the original Greek of denying self is this word right here that's on the screen that I cannot pronounce. I can't pronounce like I'm not a scholar. I think that you probably figured this out by now. If you watched any of my videos, I can't pronounce these Greek words, but I love to look them up. So deny themselves, yourself does not necessarily mean hate yourself. More likely, release the ego-centered self, meaning deny, renounce, disown, release identification with. So the very things that in our life are weighing us down, the very things that we get frustrated about, the very things that bother us about other people, these are all ego attachments. These are all elements of our life that we are so drawn to that we believe that that is what makes us who we are. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to get away from that. I'm going to deny myself, saying that I don't even know who that person is. I'm going to renounce who I am. I'm going to disown myself and release identification with so that I can function at the highest level. Too often what we're trying to do is make ourself better instead of allowing our soul to be expressed in the day-to-day. And what Jesus didn't mean, deny yourself did not mean hate yourself, erase your personality, suppress emotion, tolerate abuse, become passive. Because Jesus himself loved deeply, he spoke boldly, he rested, he confronted power, he expressed emotion. He did all of these things. And so when we're thinking about this and thinking, I've got to get rid of me, think about what happened in the early assembly, the early ecclesia, the early congregation. He didn't say, I want everybody to become identical. Everybody becomes just alike. Nope. People were given various gifts so that together the body was strengthened. Together, so that we're relying on each other. We still have very different personalities and strengths and emotions. I mean, you take just the difference in the writings of John and the writings of Paul. These are not the same personalities. And he didn't say, guys, I came so that everybody could be identical. Not at all. But instead, to live according to the style and the presence and the actions and the attitudes of the Christ. A deeper possibility, deny yourself may actually mean to release the false self, this ego self. It's built on fear, ego, image, control, self-protection. Jesus said, you'll know the truth will set you free. When we are denying ourselves in the correct form and really becoming who we are, designed in the image of God, we're no longer living by this fear. Our ego didn't get threatened. Our image is not important in society. We're not trying to control everything, and we're not trying to protect ourselves. So something deeper can emerge when we deny ourselves, not to become less human, but to actually become more true, more in line of who we're supposed to be, so that we're not trying to become something. We're being revealed as the very image of Christ, which can sound, a little bit sketchy to people who are not in this faith. But 2 Corinthians 3:18 says we're being transformed into his very image so that we are acting as Christ. And that ultimately is that denial of self. It's no longer I who live, as it says in Galatians, but Christ lives in me, lives through me. In Philippians, it said, for me to be alive is Christ to be alive. That is the ultimate self-denial, not this self-hatred, but instead we are living for and living through, so that all of this is coming through our soul. Our spirit is able to be activated. The Spirit is able to be activated, and God, the source of all things, is able to flow through our lives. So deny me? Absolutely. We're going to deny ourselves and thus become the very thing that we've wanted to be all along, living in love, joy, and peace. Well, as always, I could be dead off on this, dead wrong. Feel free to make a comment. Say, Paul, you blew it. I will not get defensive. I might share another angle, but I'm not going to be defensive on it. I'm not going to be upset about it. Feel free to make a comment, ask a question, add your own thoughts. All we're doing here is just starting some conversations. We've got so many various backgrounds that are watching, and all of us come from a different place. And so let's have this spirit of generosity, of love and joy and peace as we help each other on this journey we call our life. Until next time, be blessed.